Have you ever noticed how two people can have the same income, and one feels constantly behind, while the other feels quietly rich? That difference isn't just budgeting. It's not even lifestyle, it's an inner operating system. The Bible describes two completely different wealth settings that most people accidentally mix together. When you separate them, something clicks. You stop chasing the feeling of being rich, and you start living it. So today we're doing a comparison that can change the way you handle money forever. 1 Timothy 6:9 versus Ecclesiastes 5:19. One sounds like a warning to the wealthy, the other sounds like permission to enjoy. Together, they form what I call enjoyment law versus contentment code, the secret to feeling truly rich without lying to yourself, without spiritual guilt, and without depending on the next deposit to finally breathe. If you like videos that decode scripture with the quantum Bible wealth, lens faith, mindset, and practical money moves tap like early, so the algorithm can find the person who needs this, and subscribe because this channel is basically a library of quantum wealth scripture, patterns you can actually apply. Now let me read the heart of the first verse in plain language. 1 Timothy 6:17 is Paul talking to people who already have money. And he says essentially, don't be arrogant, and don't set your hope on riches, because they're uncertain. Instead, set your hope on God, who richly provides us with everything to enjoy. Pause on that. God richly provides for enjoyment. That's not poverty preaching. That's not guilt. That's provision with a purpose. But Paul's also doing something surgical. He's relocating hope. He's saying, the problem isn't that money exists. The problem is when money becomes your emotional oxygen. Because the moment your hope attaches to riches, you become fragile, not because you're weak. Because riches are uncertain, markets swing, clients disappear, health changes, costs rise. A single week can rearrange your whole spreadsheet. So Paul gives a wealth protocol. Enjoy, yes, but don't anchor your identity or security in the thing that can wobble. Now Ecclesiastes 5:19 hits from the other angle. It says, essentially, when God gives someone wealth and possessions and gives them the ability to enjoy them, to accept their lot, and to rejoice in their labor, this is a gift of God. That line is shocking if you grew up thinking spiritual people should always feel suspicious of enjoyment. Ecclesiastes doesn't just permit enjoyment. It calls the ability to enjoy a gift, not the wealth alone. The ability. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. You can have money and still not have the ability to enjoy it. That's why some people upgrade everything and feel nothing. New phone, same emptiness. New apartment, same anxiety. New business win, same inner pressure. So when we compare these two verses, we're not just comparing rich people advice and life advice. We're looking at two codes that run inside the human nervous system. Let me put it in a modern story. Imagine two friends. Friend A earns good money, but every time they spend, they flinch. They can't relax. They refresh their bank app like it's a heart monitor. Their entire mood is tethered to numbers. They might be generous. They might even be disciplined, but inside, they're braced for impact. Friend B earns similar money. They plan, they give, they save, but when they go out to dinner, they taste the food. When they buy something meaningful, they don't punish themselves. They can receive without fear. They feel grateful. Their nervous system is not at war with their own success. Same income. Different inner wealth. Now here's the key. 1 Timothy 6:17 is about where your hope is anchored. Ecclesiastes 5:19 is about whether you have the capacity to receive. Those are not the same. Hope is your foundation. Capacity is your container. And this is where the quantum faith lens becomes practical, not weird. In quantum language, without getting mystical or sloppy, your inner state affects what you notice, what you expect, and how you act. Your beliefs shape your decisions. Your decisions shape your outcomes. and your outcomes reinforce your beliefs. That loop becomes your personal field. If your hope is in riches, your field becomes fear-based. You interpret every dip as danger. You hoard, or you overwork, or you chase one more win because you're trying to buy safety. If your hope is in God, something changes. Money becomes a tool again, a servant, not a God. And if God gives you the ability to enjoy, your field becomes receptive. You stop treating every good thing like it's about to be taken away. You stop living as if blessing is a trap. Let's name these two dynamics clearly. Enjoyment law. God richly provides things to enjoy, so enjoyment is not automatically sin, not automatically vanity, not automatically distraction. But enjoyment has a law. It only stays pure when it's not used as a substitute for hope. If you use enjoyment to avoid pain, it becomes addiction. If you use enjoyment to prove worth, it becomes performance. If you use enjoyment to silence fear, it becomes compulsion. Enjoyment stays holy when it's received with gratitude and held with open hands. Contentment code. Contentment isn't, I don't want anything. Contentment is, I'm not owned by what I don't have. Ecclesiastes adds a surprising ingredient: rejoicing in your labor and accepting your portion. That's not resignation. That's emotional freedom. So contentment is not passive. It's regulated. It's the ability to be okay now while still building for later. And that's the code most people miss. They think contentment kills ambition. But biblical contentment actually purifies ambition. It removes desperation. Now let me make this painfully real. Have you ever had a financial breakthrough, and within days you were stressed again? That's not because the breakthrough was fake. That's because your container didn't expand with your circumstances. Money arrived, but your inner code stayed the same. So the new level became the new normal, and your mind immediately found a new lack. This is why some people can manifest money biblically. Yes, I'm saying it because they align with certain principles like diligence, generosity, wise planning, value creation, but still feel poor inside, because hope and enjoyment were never healed. And Scripture is blunt about this. 1 Timothy warns, riches are uncertain. Ecclesiastes warns in a different way. Without the ability to enjoy, wealth doesn't land as life. So here's the comparison in one line. The first of verse 17 tells you where to place your hope. Ecclesiastes 5:19 tells you what to do with your portion once it arrives. Now let's talk about the hidden trap, spiritualizing anxiety. Some people here don't set your hope on riches, and they turn it into, I shouldn't want money, or money is dangerous. But Paul didn't say money is dangerous. He said hope in money is dangerous. That's a massive difference. Because when you demonize money, you also demonize your own capacity to create, to receive, to steward, to give, to build. And then you wonder why you're stuck. I've met people who quote verses while carrying a secret belief, if I become wealthy, I'll become corrupt. So their subconscious protects them by keeping them under-earning. That's not holiness. That's fear wearing religious clothing. Now flip it. Some people hear Ecclesiastes. Wealth is a gift. Enjoyment is a gift. And they turn it into permission to consume without wisdom. But Ecclesiastes doesn't praise mindless spending. It praises rejoicing in labor, accepting your portion, enjoying what God gives. There's a difference between enjoyment and escape. Enjoyment is present. Escape is numbing. Enjoyment creates gratitude. Escape creates appetite. Enjoyment makes you generous. Escape makes you restless. So if you're serious about Bible prosperity secrets, the secret is not trying to hack God. The secret is learning what kind of person can hold blessing without losing their soul and without losing their peace. That's the prosperity that lasts. Let's make this even more practical with an analogy. Money is like electricity. It powers what you plug it into. If you plug money into fear, it amplifies fear. If you plug money into ego, it amplifies ego. If you plug money into generosity, it amplifies generosity. If you plug money into purpose, it amplifies impact. So the Bible's wealth instructions are basically, fix the wiring. 1 Timothy, relocate hope away from the grid. Ecclesiastes, receive the current as a gift and use it with joy. Now, let's talk about the quantum prosperity formula in a way you can actually use today. I'm going to give you a 3-part practice. No fluff. This is the bridge between scripture and your nervous system. Step 1. The hope audit. Ask yourself honestly, what is your first source of safety? Is it the number in your account? Is it your next client? Is it a person? Is it your ability to grind? Because whatever your first source of safety is, that's where your hope is functionally placed. And you'll know it by how you react when it shakes. If a delayed payment can ruin your entire week emotionally, hope might be misplaced. So do this. The next time money stress hits, pause and say, what am I afraid will happen to me? Then answer it. You'll usually find a deeper fear under the numbers. Fear of being trapped, fear of being seen as a failure, fear of losing control. Then do the most powerful move. Hand that fear to God in plain language. Not church language, plain language. That's quantum faith in action. Shifting your inner state, shifting your expectation, shifting what you're available for. Step 2, the enjoyment permission. This is Ecclesiastes 5:19 applied. Pick one small enjoyment this week that is not escape, not doom scrolling, not impulse shopping, not a numbing habit. A real enjoyment, a meal you eat slowly, a walk without headphones, a simple purchase you planned for, time with family, a creative hour, a good book. And while you're doing it, practice receiving without guilt. Say, this is a gift. I receive it with gratitude. If guilt rises, don't argue with it. Just notice it. That guilt is often a learned program. I must suffer to be worthy. Or, if I enjoy, something bad will happen. Ecclesiastes breaks that program. The ability to enjoy is a gift of God. Step 3, the stewardship move. Because biblical abundance is never just vibes, it's movement. Do one practical money move within 24 hours of watching this video. Track your spending for one day without judging yourself. Automate a small savings transfer. Pay down one tiny debt. Send one invoice. Negotiate one bill. Apply for one opportunity. Create one offer that solves a real problem. This step matters because faith without action becomes fantasy, and action without faith becomes anxiety. But when you combine them, you get momentum with peace. If this is hitting you, share it with someone who's doing well on the outside but struggling to feel rich on the inside. And comment with your perspective. Where do you think people most often confuse enjoyment with contentment or hope with money? I read the comments because they shape what I teach next. Now, I want to gently bring something into the middle of this conversation. A lot of people ask me, okay, but how do I practice this daily without falling back into old patterns? That's exactly why I created the Quantum Wealth Scripture Journal 30 Days of Bible plus Quantum Wealth Activations. It's scripture, reflection, and practical money moves in one journal designed to help you rewire hope, expand your capacity to receive, and build stewardship habits without burnout. If you want it, the link is in the description and pinned in the first comment. Now back to the verses because there's one more layer people miss. 1 Timothy 6:17 says God richly provides us with everything to enjoy. That line destroys the lie that God is stingy, but it also destroys the lie that money is your provider. Notice the word, provides. In the quantum field money world, people talk like the field provides, or the universe provides, or your vibration provides. Scripture is more direct. God provides. And the moment you believe provision has a source bigger than your paycheck, you stop panicking at every fluctuation. You can still be responsible, still plan, still scale, but you don't spiral. That's the difference between being a wealthy person and being a person with wealth. A wealthy person has an inner posture that can handle increase. A person with wealth might have money, but the money has them. Ecclesiastes 5:19 says God gives wealth and possessions and gives the ability to enjoy. That implies two gifts. The external gift, resources; the internal gift, capacity. Most people pray for the first and ignore the second. But if you only get the external gift, you may become more stressed, not less. More options can create more pressure. More income can create more fear of loss. So the real prayer is, God, increase my stewardship and increase my capacity. Capacity looks like being able to receive a gift without needing to pay it back emotionally. Being able to enjoy without needing to justify it. Being able to have money without needing to prove anything. Being able to lose money without losing yourself. Being able to win without becoming arrogant. That's maturity. That's wealth in the soul. And here's the paradox. People with that kind of contentment often create more money because they're not making fear-based decisions. They don't rush into bad deals to feel safe. They don't cling to toxic clients because they're terrified of lack. They don't undercharge because they need approval. They don't overspend to manage emotions. They build slowly, wisely, consistently. That's what I would call the abundance Bible code. The internal alignment that makes external increase sustainable. If this channel has been feeding you and you want a simple way to support this work, YouTube membership is open. I treat it like a sacred circle, nothing flashy, just a way to keep the teachings coming, and members also get early access to videos. If that's for you, thank you. If not, your presence still matters here. Let me give you a quick visual. Imagine money like water. If your hope is in money, you drink salt water. The more you drink, the thirstier you get. If your hope is in God, money becomes fresh water you can sip without panic, and contentment is the cup. Enjoyment is the taste. Stewardship is the pour. Now let's land this with a final challenge you can do today. Tonight, before you sleep, ask yourself two questions. First, what am I currently hoping money will fix in me? Be honest. Is it loneliness? Is it insecurity? Is it a feeling of being behind? Is it needing respect? Second, what has God already given me that I'm refusing to enjoy? Not because you're ungrateful, because you're guarded. Then do one small act of enjoyment with gratitude and one small act of stewardship with intention. That combination is how you start feeling truly rich, without pretending, without spiritual guilt, and without becoming obsessed with the next number. So here's my question for you, and I really want your thoughts in the comments. Do you feel like your biggest struggle is enjoying what you have or trusting God when what you have feels uncertain? Because once you answer that honestly, you'll know which verse you need to live this week, the enjoyment law or the contentment code.